Welcome in to I Remember My First Time. Don't be nasty, Jacob. Not that first time.
Damn it.
This is a podcast about cinematic awakenings.
I like the sound of that.
Well, we talk about movies we love with someone who just popped their cherry to that movie.
Okay, that sounds pretty nice.
Jacob, are all the movies we do on this podcast going to be good movies?
God, I hope not.
Do we like shitty movies?
We love shitty movies. Sometimes even more than good movies.
Are we critics?
Absolutely not.
But do we love movies?
Oh, we love the shit out of movies. In this week's masterpiece, the 2010 Edgar Wright classic, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Jacob, not that I do drugs, unless you do drugs. In that case, I do all of them all the time.
You tell me, BJ. BJ, we are Sex Bomb Bomb, and we are here to make you think about death and get sad and stuff.
That's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
I am Vegan Academy alumni BJ Leica.
Joined as always by me, Jacob Beakus. And I think garlic bread could be my favorite all-time food. I could eat it for every meal or just consistently without stopping.
Bread doesn't make you fat.
Not me. It was the burgers. Oh, yeah. Maybe it was the bread. It was Sonny Bryan's rolls when I started working there at 15. I'm just like, I can eat these all the time?
Oh. Yeah, because dinner rolls cost the restaurant like $1 a day.
Oh, my God. There's honey. There's butter. I'm going to fuck this shit up.
So after the bread discussion, carb talk this week, we are doing Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, described by Netflix as dreamy delivery girl Ramona captures Scott Pilgrim's heart, but he must vanquish all 7 of her evil exes in martial arts battles to win her love.
Okay.
The martial arts thing.
Not what happened.
And you also have to mention that this is a comic book adaptation.
Or a video game movie. One of the two.
If I saw that description and watched this movie, I think I would have been disappointed.
Yeah. For sure. That description kind of blows.
7.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 82% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a very nice 69% Metacritic score.
I want to be wine dined and 69. Gross, Kevin.
Ebert did not do a review, but in a Q&A, he was asked the question of if he was ever going to review this movie, which he responded, "Video games rank low on my list of tumultuous relationships. I feel embarrassed about that, but I've been amazed how often I've been asked your question. I took a month's leave to work on my memoirs, and alas, didn't see Scott Pilgrim. I still sleep at night."
Roger Ebert annoys the fuck out of me. Like, fuck him. 10 years ago, he was watching Tomb Raider, raving about the video game adaptation that was Tomb Raider. Fuck him. He upsets me sometimes. I don't get it. Sometimes I'm on board with everything he has to say. And then sometimes I'm just like, dude, what the hell?
The diehard Tomb Raider ratings are just mind-boggling.
And then the Scooby-Doo one.
Scooby-Doo is basically a better version of Tomb Raider.
Yeah. I don't get him. He doesn't make sense to me. Like, at least we're consistent.
I do have an actual review from Kevin Smith of the New York Post. In a review titled...
So not Kevin Smith, the writer of Clerks 2.
This is Kyle Smith.
Okay.
Could be a brother. I don't know. After reading this review, I'm going to say not related to Kevin Smith.
Okay.
The review is titled, "All Games, No Joystick."
Okay.
That's funny. That is a funny headline.
It is.
Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a big, warm, cinematic jelly donut stuffed with use, vitality, style, whimsy, and other equally alarming properties. I tried to love it, but after 20 minutes, I sensed I was intruding on the movie's love affair with itself.
Okay, the movie isn't good in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. Like the 20 minutes is just kind of setting everything up.
Yeah, I always give movies 45 minutes before I decide if I'm gonna like. At 45 minutes, I have a good idea if I'm gonna like it or not. I still haven't decided.
Well, after like 20 minutes is kind of sets up all the characters.
Yeah.
Director Edgar Wright will have only himself to blame if excited kids are so razzled and dazzled that they power on their pocket gadgets and start prattering or twixting or whatever it is the youth does these days. As a man who once said on this podcast, kids YouTubing on their computers, this dude sounds old.
Yeah. He's just making up words. At least you used a real word and made it a verb. He's just like prattering and twixting. Shut the fuck up.
What an old man. But this ninja rodeo, this chaos prom, this pulsing grenade of irony can't sustain itself. Burn hard, burn out, even if it's had run half an hour shorter, it still would have been an hour too long.
Wow, okay. And he tried to be a fan within the first 20 minutes. He tried to like it.
He did, and
he's an idiot.
Yep. Anyway, the main thing is the old man phrases he used in there. I found very comical.
Yeah, that was worth the whole review.
So how'd this movie do in the box office?
Horrible.
Okay.
It is. This movie is a certified cult classic.
It is.
Horrible in the box office. It had an $85 million budget. I don't know what that is today, 2010, so
100.
Yeah. So $85 million. It made $45 million in the box office.
Oof. First of all, this is kind of a hard sell to get $85 million for a budget. Because I don't think this is made for a huge audience.
No, but Edgar Wright had just done Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz.
Okay.
Like, he had just put out two incredible bangers that weren't made for everybody.
No, and this movie's not made for everybody either.
Yeah, like, people don't like zombie movies. People love Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
So I think that's how they got the $85 million. It's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Right, because it's such a small audience that this movie's going for. There's no way you give this movie more than $40 million.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I liked the budget it had. I think Edgar Wright used the $85 million incredibly well.
Oh, it looks really cool.
Yeah, it's a very well shot movie. The CGI was used in the right places on the right things. It was good. It didn't make any of its money back. None of it.
Jacob, what'd you think of the movie?
I thought it was boring for the most part, even through all the fight scenes.
Really?
Yeah, I was not enjoying it until the last half hour.
Okay.
And I say not enjoying it, like, it was fun. I laughed. I enjoyed the fight scenes. It never really got going for some reason for me.
So it was one of those things where you feel like you don't like it as much as you should have, despite the laughing and that was cool and that looked cool.
Exactly.
Okay.
And like the guy didn't like the first 20 minutes of the movie. I felt like the whole movie felt like the first 20 minutes. Like, I was like, come on. And then the last 30 happened and I was like, okay, cool. So, but there were a lot of things I liked about the movie, but that's how I felt about it.
A lot of good, a lot of not really bad, a lot of good, a lot of you just didn't care.
Yeah. What about you?
I really enjoy this movie. I think this movie is a great time to hang around to. I think it's very of a time, and I can see myself watching this kind of just anytime I feel like just chilling and watching a fun movie.
Yeah, so like when you're scrolling through YouTube TV and this movie's randomly on.
Yeah, there's a random like scene, right? Yeah. There's a random
and you're just like
random fight scenes. You're like, oh, I'll watch this for 7-8 minutes.
I can put this on right now. What'd you like about the movie?
I thought it was extremely creative. I thought it was both funny and had really fun action. Like the creativity is probably the biggest thing. The creativity, how they made it look, how they told the story. Something like this was never done to this point.
Yeah.
Not this well anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to do video game type, but the comedy put in it here was totally different.
Yeah, the only movie I can think about that was in a similar vein to this, and it's a totally different movie, is Sin City. Like just that comic book style.
Right, but you're talking about an uber violent, bloody,
I'm talking about
hard R Sin City.
Completely different kind of movie.
Versus this movie, which is probably damn near PG.
Yeah, and I mean, Scott Pilgrim doesn't kill anybody besides Gideon. Literally no one dies.
They just turn into coins.
Yeah. So, but all I'm saying is like the only other movie that I can think of that had done something similar to this up to this point, just in the comic book style.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right there. I'm just saying, but they're still tonally very different.
And this movie had the video game aspect, like you said, which is one thing I really liked. Because I'm not a big gamer, but the video games that they referenced were games that I played. The Legend of Zelda, different stuff, like different Nintendo games. Because Nintendo was big when I was like 9 to 14. And I was like, yeah. My dad bought me and my brother's first Nintendo after he joined the Navy, got it tax-free.
Super Mario Brothers.
Super Mario Bros. We had Cruisin' 64.
Oh, yeah. Cruisin' was fun.
Yep. 007 GoldenEye.
Always gave me a headache.
One of my favorite video games of all time, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, but also Mario World 64, where you jumped into the pictures. Mm-hmm. Fucking love that game. But anyways.
Also, all the characters made me laugh. Like every single side character made me laugh. I thought the side characters were phenomenal in this.
All the characters
most
were
importantly,
great.
Kieran Culkin as his gay roommate was absolutely like, watch me just kick all y'all's ass in an acting clinic in this movie.
Spoiler alert, Kieran Culkin is in my top 4 in the most ridiculous way and the most ridiculous spot. So
excellent.
Yeah.
And the music. The music's kick-ass.
Yeah. The music was cool. It's not my kind of music, but I enjoyed it.
I kind of was curious what a metalhead thought about late 2000s alt-pop punk type songs.
Like, I don't listen to that music at all. But, like, in a movie, like, I've rarely ever disliked music in a movie. Typically, I like it.
Well, and I think a big reason of that is you're only hearing a minute of the song.
Yeah.
And not 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So no matter how much you don't like it, you're like, I can get through a minute of this.
Yeah.
Especially when it's good.
Yeah. But you're right. When bands like Green Day and all those other bands were popping up during that time, I was like, Nick Frost and Shaun of the Dead, all right, gay. Edgar Wright shout out for you all. What'd you not like about the movie? Because you listed everything I liked too.
See, you really liked the last 20 minutes. I felt like they kind of went to the well one too many times. I was kind of over the video game style fight, and I kind of wanted the big boss fight to be something different. And really, the only difference is they had swords.
Yeah, but like at the end of a video game, when that stuff happens, you're typically going to the well a lot.
That I get it that was kind of the point, and the same thing, not really introducing the big boss until the end. Yeah. That's kind of video game tropey. I was kind of mad by it.
I get you.
Had the movie ended at the lesbian orgasm death scene, I would have this movie ranked even higher than I do now.
Such a great scene.
It's a great description of that scene, too.
It is. Also, BJ, I'm in lesbian with you.
I almost had that as one of the quotes at the beginning. I couldn't really quite figure out how to put it in there.
Yeah, it's okay. It's such a great quote. And also, whenever Michael Cera called Chris Evans a cocky cock.
Incredible.
Love that. That is the reason that Aubrey Plaza doesn't say the F word throughout the entire movie, because it would have gotten an R rating because Michael Cera said cocky cock.
Actually funnier that they bleeped out her saying the F word.
Agreed. Anything else you didn't like about the movie?
Scott Pilgrim's kind of an asshole. He's obviously a terrible boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's a pretty bad friend and a bad bandmate as well.
Yep.
He's just not a good person.
No.
And even at the end, when he battles Mecha Scott or whatever, he just kind of like, because that's like your faults. That's what you're trying to change about yourself. And he just kind of accepts them.
Yeah, he's just like, we actually have a lot in common. Yeah, you're an asshole.
Yeah, I didn't like that part of it either.
Okay.
That I didn't realize when I first watched this when I was younger. But being older, I'm like, this guy kind of sucks.
Yeah, fair enough. Same thing that I mentioned earlier. I didn't like how bored I was throughout the first hour and 20 minutes. It just never picked up and ran. It felt like it like started to jog and then slowed back down. It's the weirdest thing because I don't feel like you felt that happened.
No, I felt this movie was really fun all the way through. And even the like date scene with Scott and Knives, I think is a really great, fun, entertaining scene.
Well, I thought so too. Like I like all those random scenes too. I just don't think that it flowed all that well, and it made me bored.
Oh, so like the flow more than the content?
Maybe since this is based off a 6 comic book string of comics, maybe it should have been a short series that you can do with Netflix now.
Okay.
Maybe I would have enjoyed it more. I don't know. But yeah, because like I like those scenes. I just don't think it worked.
Fair. Okay.
Was it a good or bad movie?
Oh, one more thing that I didn't get to. I don't know if I'll get to it again. The names in this movie are hilarious.
Yeah.
Steven Stills,
Mm-hmm.
Young Neil. What is Chris Evans' character? It's some stupid ass
Luke
alliteration
Lesson or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
All the names are incredible.
Knives
Chow.
Yeah, Knives Chow. Love the names. They're incredible. You're right. So was it a good or bad movie, though?
I thought it was a really good movie that does a lot of really interesting things, but it's certainly not for everybody. But it's a good movie because they accomplished what they wanted to accomplish.
Okay. I'm not going to say it's a bad movie. Like, it's all right. I don't know if I'd call it good, but it's all right. BJ, what time is it?
Time to get deep.
How deep?
I'm not saying it.
He means balls deep, everybody. Balls deep into this movie. Mount Rushmore of scenes. BJ, you like this movie more than I did. Why don't you start us off?
My fourth favorite scene is my only non-action scene in here.
You want to hear something funny before you go on?
Yeah.
I have 2 non-action scenes in my Mount Rushmore.
Really?
Yeah.
This is kind of the rom-com aspect of the movie. It is Scott and Ramona's date where they go back to Ramona's place.
Okay.
I thought the date was super cute.
Remind me what they did.
So she was going to make him tea. They had, he's like, there's more than one tea.
No, what they did for their date.
Oh, they just kind of wandered.
Okay.
Like that, which is what you do when you're 22 and broke and don't have a job.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And they're taking the bus.
Because his hair, they walked outside. I remember that.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can go without the tea. That was great.
Yeah. And when he goes back and Ramona's in nothing but the bra.
Yeah.
I think this scene just takes off. And at that moment, because of who we've known that Scott Pilgrim has pulled, I thought we were going to see Scott Pilgrim's dick, and it must have been glorious for him to pull what he pulled.
Yeah.
But alas, we did not see Scott Pilgrim's dick.
Just like we didn't see Michael Douglas's dick in Basic Instinct. Show us your dick, Michael Douglas!
Think Scott Pilgrim had a hog?
Oh, for sure.
Just big old nasty hog.
You don't look like Michael Cera and not have a hog. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, look at Willem Dafoe.
William Dafoe's, whose penis has been described as being, quote, comically large.
I think it was the movie Antichrist. They had to use a prosthetic cock because his cock was too big. Every time he whipped it out, people started laughing. It was so big. So they had to use a fake cock. He was willing to show us his dick.
Well, Enough cock talk. What was your fourth favorite scene, Jacob?
My fourth favorite scene is one of my non-action scenes. I could have cheated and done every time Aubrey Plaza's in the movie, but instead I just did the first coffee scene.
Where she takes over for his
sister,
yeah.
And she's like, and his sister's like, "Sorry, I'm leaving," and Aubrey Plaza just starts firing on all fucking cylinders, and we get the first bleeps out of the movie, and then both Ramona and Envy show up in the scene. No, not Envy. Knives show up in the scene
together.
Yes,
yeah.
I thought it was so funny,
and this is basically like Aubrey Plaza's character in Parks and Rec, but on 100 milligrams of caffeine.
Yes. Incredible scene.
Needless to say, Aubrey Plaza is welcome on this podcast. We are huge fans.
Yes, anytime. Please come on the podcast. This scene was so funny to me. There was no way it wasn't making my top 4. The moment I saw it, I was like, all right, like I need to figure out my other 3 scenes because this is on it.
Just a matter of where it's going to be on there.
Yeah. So, and after watching the whole movie, I'm like, damn, I have another non-action scene because I can't take that off. I thought it was too funny.
Well, my third favorite scene is an action scene, and it is the wonderful performance by Chris Evans in his scene as...
I loved his facial hair. That facial hair on the jawline is so fucking stupid.
Especially as great as he looks in a beard in the kind of... Infinity War Captain America range.
Gray Man movie.
Yeah, just extremely great facial hair. Has the worst in this movie.
Gray Man, he had an incredible mustache, excuse me.
I know.
But this movie was this facial hair is fucking horrible. But he was great.
Actually, that's hilarious.
We're gonna start fighting in 2 seconds till I beat your ass and get my girl back. I'm talking to you, Scott.
I thought he was doing his best Joe Bluth impression to impress Michael Cera.
Okay, I see that. I'm glad you have the Chris Evans fight scene because it did not make my top 4, and because of the Aubrey Plaza scene,
and just the classic. I'm gonna outsmart you by telling you to do a grind on this rail.
No, a grindy thingy.
A grindy thingy.
Yeah.
Oh, can you do a thingy on that rail?
It's called a grind.
Bro.
It's called a grind. Well, can you do a grindy thingy? Fun fact, his speed was in kilometers because they were in Canada.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah.
Probably the funniest. Yeah, I don't know if you want to call it a death scene or a defeat scene. It was hilarious because he just went down at 300 kilometers an hour and hit the pavement.
What a great grindy thingy. Like, that was a great stunt.
He called his trailer the Winnie.
The term sloppy seconds.
To all 9 of his stunt doubles.
So Lucas Lee's mentioning of letting his stunt double do the wide shots while he gets blazed in his Winnie is based on the antics caused by Wesley Snipes during the making of Blade Trinity in 2004, which was also done in Canada. According to sources, including co-star Patton Oswalt, Snipes frequently held up shooting by staying in his trailer smoking weed. This led to director David S. Goyer having to use stand-ins and digital effects to add Snipes into scenes.
Well, it's a great way to end this scene. What's your third favorite scene, Jacob?
My third favorite scene is the fight with Todd, which is where we get Cocky Cock.
You once were a vegan. Now you will be gone.
And I love Thomas Jane showing up because I think the first movie I saw Thomas Jane in was the original Punisher movie. And I was like, man, these comic book movies are awesome. And then they ended up not being that way. At least to me. Like, make rated R Punisher movies and TV shows and Deadpool movies, and I'm all in.
So where do you start the scene? Is it just the fight, or do you start?
Yeah, it's just the fight with Todd. And I love their base off.
I thought really well in my mind's eye. Yeah, no, the base off is good too. There's some funky ass riffs going on in that base off.
Yeah.
I learned the whole fucking thing. Both parts.
Mitchell, come on. Mitchell, come here.
Oh, man.
As a bass player, how cool was the bass off?
I mean, I felt like I was nerding the fuck out. It was insane. I was sitting there with all my friends, and they all know I play bass because it was all I ever fucking talked about. And I'm just losing my shit because I'm like, they're not even that good. They're not even that good. Scott should get his ass kicked. That's a fucking Rickenbacker 4003 Jet Glow, fucking bright red, beautiful. Oh my, nah, kick that dude's ass, vegan man.
With duct
Beat
tape.
the shit out of him.
With duct tape on his face.
and so yeah, no, that was probably my favorite scene in the movie, just because after he comes back and then they have the whole vegan explosion. God, it was all funny as shit, man.
So Mitchell, just because you're here, everybody in the Sex Bombs learned how to play their
Sex bombs.
That's what I said, right?
I don't know.
Whatever. If I said it wrong, I didn't mean to. They all learned their instruments to, play. And everyone might have learned how to play their instruments too throughout the whole movie. But I know for sure the Sex Bombs. Michael Cera had to dumb down his bass playing because he's an actual bass player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He had to dumb it down so he could be as good as everybody else.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I didn't pay enough attention to the guitar, but I could definitely tell the drummer was basically just snare cymbal bass, like single snare, single cymbal, kick bass, and that was like the entire drum line.
The drum line was Foo Fighters, which is actually disco. Trivia on that, but that's a whole other Dave Grohl story. And the guitar was about as plain as it gets for supporting guitar. I'm kind of surprised that. I guess I'm not surprised that Michael Cera is a bassist. He's a almost 40-year-old vampire, man. He's just like me. What the fuck? It is what it is. Anyways, y'all have a good one. I gotta go.
That was nerdy bass talk.
Nerdy bass talk by one of our frequented guests on the pod.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my number 3 favorite scene. It's just a lot of fucking fun.
Number 2 for me is the initial fight scene, where he fights Matthew Patel.
That was a good scene.
That's where we get to the band that was opening for them. Thought they were hilarious.
Okay.
Where they're like, this song's called "Shut Up and Die." Shut up and die. Thank you. Or whatever it was. I don't remember the exact lyrics.
But it was like 5 seconds of play and 1 second of lyrics.
Right. The Garbage Man song I found incredibly charming for some reason.
Yeah, the Garbage Man song was great.
And the first fight move in this movie is a straight up Heartbreak Kid sweet chin music.
Yes. And we love sweet chin music. Shawn Michaels is more than welcome on this pod any fucking time, too.
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy.
Sweet chin music, baby.
That's the wrestling segment of the podcast we got to here.
This scene is also one of the most obvious to this bit of trivia. Edgar Wright has stated the movie was done in the style of a musical, but instead of the characters breaking into song and dance, they break into fight. The battle between Scott Pilgrim and Matthew Patel is done in the style of a Bollywood fight scene.
Oh,
and then you had that musical elements too in this scene.
When they switched off to the little Bollywood scene where he had the vampires around him, I laughed my ass off. It was wonderful. And Kieran Kulkin is killing it in this scene in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
Where he steals Anna Kendrick's boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
And she looks over, she goes, Wallace, not again.
Again, Kieran Culkin, fucking comedic genius.
Just talking shit to the bands that are up there before.
My number 2 favorite scene is the finale.
The one that Jason Schwartzman as Gideon.
Yeah, the one you weren't the biggest fan of. I started as he leaves his apartment to go do his thing. I love the passwords. First password, whatever.
Second password.
I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but I was like, fucking great.
Can I tell you, this is right after that. My favorite part is when he kills the henchmen and their coins lay out in the shape of a body chalk.
Awesome.
Like from a dead body.
Yep.
Laughed way too hard at that. Shouldn't have. Not that funny. I found it hilarious.
I love Knives Chow showing up, and I love Gideon saying, "Listen, Kung Pao chicken." I was like, whoa! Wow! That was an intense racial slur.
Because no one really made any racial slurs to
No.
this point in the movie. And then there's like 10 minutes left. And he calls Knives Kung Pao chicken.
I thought that was so funny, and I shouldn't have.
I didn't want you to fucking hate that.
Jason Schwartzman was just great in this scene. I love the moment he showed up. He was so funny too.
You liked the extra life he got?
Yeah, this scene is just great. It was funny. It had those gaming tropes that I enjoyed. And then you had the kind of Scott Pilgrim redemption scene too, coming in and saying sorry to Kelly and all that shit. It was a little forced, but I enjoyed it. It's the rom-com aspect of the movie.
Still just one. He's just not a good guy.
I know.
Even with the redemption arc. But okay.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be in your top 4. It just wasn't in mine.
Yeah. All right, BJ. Number uno, your favorite scene, the Abraham Lincoln of the Mount Rushmore.
So we haven't done it yet, but we enter the Eddie Guerrero portion of the podcast where we lie, we cheat, we steal.
Okay.
It is the vegan fight is the middle of it, but it starts when they go into that club and it ends with the lesbian orgasm death.
So a good 20-minute scene.
A good 20-minute scene. The song that what is Brie Larson's Envy Adams band name? Clash at Demon Head.
Yeah.
Their song is wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, I went through a metric phase in my life. I still think this song slaps.
Okay.
So that part is awesome. The making fun of the vegans in the vegan fight scene, you had it on your list. Probably the best fight scene.
Probably.
Just like pure fight scene in terms of like comedy, action elements.
Yeah.
If I peed my pants, blame it on the rain.
Yeah.
It's not raining, Scott. And I really, really enjoyed the lesbian fight scene at the club.
Yeah.
Where Scott wouldn't hit a girl, so Ramona's behind him, like playing him like a puppet.
You know who that is?
Who? The lesbian?
Yeah.
No.
That's George Michael's girlfriend, Anne, from Arrested Development.
I did not even. I mean, she's heavily made up, and
she is, but Nema knew her instantly because she's also in Good Girls, which is a pretty quality bad show.
I mean, the great Christina Hendricks.
You should watch it.
Okay.
Ronnie would love it.
Did you like the little belt weapon she had in this?
Yeah. If the Base Off was the best fight scene, the second one was a lesbian fight scene. The third one, the Chris Evans, and then the fourth one, the finale, oddly enough. I don't know where Patel gets put in there, but it doesn't matter.
The Patel one's a good start. Like, it's a good intro.
Agreed.
Yeah. But she's got her weak spots behind her knee, and then he just touches it with her finger, and she orgasm deaths.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Love that. Okay. Oddly enough, my Eddie Guerrero style scene where I lie, I steal, and I cheat is also my number one scene. Every time Kieran Kulkin as Wallace is on the screen.
That is a very fair cheat because he's the star of the movie.
I think so. And, like, his apartment, out in public, doesn't matter. Anytime he pops up on screen, that's my favorite.
Him, when he shows up drunk and is just acting crazy and then passes out 4 seconds later. I've never related more with a character in a movie.
And then still texting his sister. He's like, how do you do that? I loved him just being like, yeah, I need this to work out with Ramona because I need you out of my apartment. And I won't feel as guilty if you have somewhere to go. And just, I love you, but I'm going to need the bed tonight for sex. And probably for the rest of the week and the rest of the month And the rest of the year.
Oh, Kieran Culkin was slaying in this movie.
Slaying. I love the rules he was giving Michael Cera about breaking up with knives, and he's just like, but you're with so-and-so, like Anna Kendrick's boyfriend is like, hey, I didn't write the straight rule book. Don't tell me about the gay rule book, okay? Fucking every time he does anything, like,
did you like the Seinfeld scene?
love the Seinfeld
that was thrown
scene.
in this movie for absolutely no reason. And I loved it.
That's not what we were referring to. That's not what we were trying to do. Edgar Wright was just like Seinfeld, baby. Loved it. Michael Cera coming home right before the finale. And you might have just seen some guy's junk. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Every time Kieran Culkin's on screen. And before we leave Kieran Culkin, at some point on this pod, we will do the movie 43, and he has an incredible scene with Emma Stone.
Yeah, okay.
When you sucked off that hobo, it was a wizard.
Yeah. We can't talk about enough about Kieran Culkin and Aubrey Plaza in this movie.
No. But like I said, my top 4 scenes, 2 of them were non-action scenes, and it involved them too. Incredible. We did it.
That's Rushmore, baby.
Podcast over. Bye, everybody.
No, it's not over. We've got an overarching discussion. We mentioned earlier how this movie bombed, but yet it is still a cult classic. So I read a little article on Vulture about kind of why and how that happened. And the first part of it bombing, it came out the same weekend as The Expendables and Eat, Pray, Love.
Okay. Eat, Pray, Love is not a great movie, but people fucking love the shit out of that movie.
It's Julia Roberts in a movie called Eat, Pray, Love that was based on a best-selling book. Every woman that shops at Target and drinks Starbucks was seeing that movie.
Okay.
And you could not convince your girlfriend to go see Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
No. You know what I was
2010.
You know what I was doing in 2010? Watching The Expendables.
Exactly. So it basically kind of had this range where a certain audience went to Expendables, the other part went to Eat, Pray, Love, and this was kind of stuck in the middle.
Okay.
What they didn't mention, which I think is probably a bigger reason, is there was no need to spend $85 million on a movie that was for a specific audience.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it bombing. And the cult classic aspect, they mentioned that, yes, it was made up for a specific group. Probably people, I don't know, 28 to 40 maybe. People in that range.
In 2010?
No, right now.
Right now, yeah. In 2010, people in their 20s.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. But right now, yeah, that's the range it's made for.
They mentioned that it looks better on your television screen than in a big screen, or doesn't look that much different. I didn't see it on the big screen. I can't account for that. But the big thing she didn't mention that I think is big in movies becoming cult classics, the cast is all huge now.
Yeah.
Chris Evans and Brie Larson are superstars now.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Kendrick, Aubrey Plaza, Kieran Culkin are all incredibly well regarded. Sarah and Schwartzman are probably about the same now as they were when the movie came out.
Yeah.
But I think having a cast like that where the actors in the movie are now big time actors really helps from the cult classic aspect as well.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's all I got for that.
Good stuff. Character breakdown. Got to start with Michael Cera.
Scotty P.
Scotty P, baby.
George Michael Bluth.
George Michael. Oh, so great. Yeah, well, I mean, what can we say about Scott Pilgrim that we haven't already said? He's just a shitty person.
Michael Cera running is one of the funniest things to me.
Agreed. He's a hilarious runner. He's just an awkward-looking dude.
I don't remember him doing a lot of physical comedy, but I thought his physical comedy in this was really good.
I did too.
And I'm kind of wondering why he hadn't done it more.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Michael Cera plays the same role in every movie and TV show, kind of.
Yeah, but he's usually a nice guy. He's kind of a dick in this.
That's true. But I just mean, I guess I mostly mean his mannerisms and how he like, because you would think you'd get more physical comedy out of him, but you don't. But he always plays the same kind of like awkward.
Yeah, he's a not as good looking Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Or a nerdier Jesse Eisenberg, or
however you want to look at it.
Yeah, whatever.
I love the shape of his head.
What?
I don't know. Like,
you're gonna have to explain
like,
that one, big boy.
I think it's just in this movie with his hair. Like, it's just so weird looking on his body. Like, I thought it was funny.
It's such a terrible haircut.
I love when it gets brought up instantly. The hat's on.
All right, Ramona Flowers.
She did great. I love the character in this movie.
Yeah, you know, for as much as she was in it, and as good an actor as Mary Elizabeth Winstead is, they kind of don't ask her to do a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
I think they let kind of the side characters do a lot more of the work, and she's more of just a plot device.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like, I enjoyed the character, but there's not much else to say besides that, I think.
Right. It wasn't a very complex character or anything like that. And I think she did what she was supposed to do, which wasn't that much.
Yeah. Nice job, baby.
The real hero of the movie.
Yep. She was incredible.
Knives a great girl.
Yeah. And I just, she played the perfect 17-year-old.
Her going through the freak out and dyeing her hair is a wonderful scene.
Yes. But before that, though, I loved her passing out at the first show she went to.
How terrible was the Sex Bomb t-shirt?
So bad. She made that herself.
I can tell.
Like the actor made it
herself. Really? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, she made it for Knives Chow.
I bet her post-breakup freak out was probably your girlfriend's favorite scene.
Probably. I'd have to ask. She fell asleep at 1 hour and 7 minutes.
Yeah, but that happens.
I know.
No, it might not.
But I can't ask what your favorite scene is till you finish all of it.
Yeah.
So, but Knives Chow was incredible. I loved her character. Also, a bit of trivia. When she meets Brie Larson, when she meets Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and is like, oh, you look like you're 25. She's 25 playing a 17-year-old.
Oh, I figured she wasn't 17.
Oh, for sure.
In this movie.
I like they did that in Nightmare on Elm Street. Whenever homegirl goes dazed without sleeping, she's like, God, I look like I'm 22. She was 22.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just when they poke fun at it, I find funny. And then the last characters we have to talk about, right behind Knives Chow being the stars of this movie, Kieran Culkin and Aubrey Plaza.
I wish there was...
Aubrey Plaza looks fucking hot in this movie.
She always does.
I know she always does, but...
The big, round, librarian-style glasses.
And then the spaghetti string tank top. And, like, it wasn't a white tank top, but that's okay. She looked great. She looked great.
I wanted about 5 more minutes of Aubrey Plaza in this movie.
I did, too.
I got to admit.
They gave me enough of Kieran Culkin. I needed 5 more minutes of Aubrey Plaza.
Yes, yeah.
Incredible. Both characters like hitting at 110.
Oh yeah. Kieran Culkin and Aubrey Plaza are both just firing fastballs.
I loved it.
Just high heat the whole time, every time they're on the screen.
And you are one of those people. I'm not, but I see the merit. I understand people thinking it's funnier than doing it, but the bleeping out cuss words. We do it on our descriptions on the pod because you're such a fan of it.
I think The Office did it so well.
Yeah.
That it was funnier when they did it. And because it was like a documentary shot. So that,
Sure.
But man.
But you find it so funny. And it works really well in this movie. Because of everything they're doing in this movie, that was perfect.
Yeah.
And now we're on the trivia and facts. BJ, I think it was a couple weeks ago when I mentioned that when I texted you that this movie had quite a few, and you're like, oh, quite a few's got to be like a lot. And I was like, no, it's like 50. And you're like, that's not a lot. This movie had like 207.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot.
Well, just listen to this podcast. Jacob pulled out the best.
Yeah, don't go read them. Let me do it for you because I also separate them too. I'll start with Nintendo trivia. This film is heavily inspired by and features numerous references to Nintendo, such as the use of names, imagery, sound effects, and music from classic Nintendo games, and scenes featuring various Nintendo game consoles. Ironically, the video game adaptation of the film, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, was only initially released for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC, not Nintendo.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Edgar Wright obtained permission to use the famous theme music from the SNES game The Legend of Zelda by writing a letter to Nintendo, saying that it is considered to be the nursery rhyme of his generation. Several sound effects from the game can be also heard throughout the scenes in Scott's band practice room. Wright was also allowed to use the Seinfeld theme music for a sitcom-style sequence.
I thought the Seinfeld theme was like public domain.
I
don't know enough about that.
It might be now. Okay. In 2010, it wasn't. Envy Adams' band, The Clash of Demon Head, is named after lesser-known Nintendo Entertainment System game Clash at Demon Head in '89. The name is also a play on the influential punk band The Clash.
Great band name.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, The Clash at Demon Head.
Such a good name.
Ba-dow, ba-dow.
Speaking of good band names, the name of Scott Pilgrim's band, Sex Bomb Bomb, I say it wrong every time, is a reference to the Nintendo video game Super Mario Bros. 2. The game features an enemy character named Bomb Bomb that looks like a small round bomb with a lit fuse, legs, and eyes. An image resembling this character is depicted on the band's kick drum. Sex Bomb is the name of a song by the punk band Flipper, as well as a hit record by singer Tom Jones. The band Crash and the Boys is named after a NES Game Boy game called Crash and the Boys Street Challenge.
Didn't know that. All right.
The name Chaos Theater is a reference to a location in the Super Nintendo game Earthbound from '94. In the game, a band called the Runaway Five performed there nightly, though this is due to them being held under a massive debt by the theater owner. In the movie, the comparison is taken even further. Scott's old band, Sex Bomb Bomb, Tight for Cash, is seen playing there as part of a contract with Gideon. One of the members, Kim, states that they are there to sell out and make money and stuff.
Kim's great, too.
I love Kim. Ramona's hair colors correspond with the colors of the three goddesses from the Legend of Zelda 86 series. Pink equals Din, blue is for Naru, and green is Fiore. That's for our Nintendo listeners.
There we go. Got some Nintendo nerd trivia.
Here's my comic trivia from the Scott Pilgrim comic books. Edgar Wright told the actors not to blink to give the film a comic book vibe. There are only a few moments in the entire movie where someone blinks. You're going to have to watch out for that the next time you watch it, aren't you? And now BJ's having a staring contest with me. Who's going to win? I've been smoking more weed. I don't know what effect that has. I'm also jacked up on caffeine.
Oh, okay.
I won! Woo! I don't normally win those. When Julia's listening, the girls whose hearts Scott has broken, she mentions two named Lisa and Holly. Lisa and Holly were two secondary characters in the graphic novels that weren't featured in the movie. Lisa went to school with Scott and Kim. Holly was Kim's coworker and roommate.
Good choice to replace that with Wallace.
Yes. Anna Kendrick as the character Stacy Pilgrim wears the actual name badge of the real life Stacy, on whom the comic creator Brian Lee O'Malley based the character. In one of the DVD commentaries, Kendrick specifically asked that someone add this to trivia to IMDb.
Anna Kendrick seems like a pretty cool person.
Yeah, she does. And hot. At the party where she's so hot.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. At the party where he talks to Ramona for the first time, Scott holds up a very bad drawn picture of Ramona and asks if anyone has seen her. Director Edgar Wright and Scott said Scott was originally supposed to hold up a picture of Ramona from the comic book series, but felt that the silly drawing Scott holds up was more comedic.
It was. Especially when the guy recognizes it immediately.
Yeah. Kita Satu and Shata Saito, sorry if I fucked that up, who play evil exes 5 and 6, spoke little to no English, and Edgar Wright said directing them during their fight scene was a challenge, involving hand gestures and other crude means of communication. It also meant axing a talkative subplot from the books where they hold Kim Pine as hostage. Before you comment, out of $85 million, they couldn't get a translator to make shooting this scene easier?
Yeah. And what were they, Japanese?
I would assume.
Yeah, you could have got, because there's no way they shot that scene in more than a day.
Yeah, you could spend some of that $85 million on a fucking translator.
Yeah, go find someone who speaks both and say, you want to make $2,000 today?
Yep. Ramona's full name is Ramona Victoria Flowers. In the comic book, she tells a joke about her middle name connected to Queen Victoria. Her nickname, Rammy, was left out of the movie. I think Rammy would have been funny.
For Ramona, okay. Yeah, look, like I said, that character is just kind of a plot device.
Yeah. Scott and Stacy's parents and their younger brother Lawrence make cameo appearances in the comic books. Their parents are unnamed, but Brian Lee O'Malley has hinted that the dad is the older version of the character Vincent from another of his comic books, Monica Beetle, set in 1974. All 3 characters are left out of the movie.
I kind of was curious what Scott Pilgrim's parents were like.
Yeah. My last bit of comic book trivia involves a bunch of comics. At least 4 characters in this movie have been in comic book and or superhero-themed movies and or TV series. Mary Elizabeth Winstead played Gwen Grayson in Sky High in 2005 and the Huntress in the Birds of Prey in 2020. Michael Cera was the voice of Robin in the Lego Batman series. Chris Evans played the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four movies and Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Brandon Ruth was Superman in Superman Returns and the Atom in Arrowverse. Brie Larson was Captain Marvel. Aubrey Plaza played Lenny Bunsker in Legion. Nelson Franklin played bit roles in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Many Heads, One Tail, and Captain Marvel. And Mai Whitman is the voice of Batgirl, Wonder Girl, and Stephen Brown in DC Superhero Girls. And Thomas Jane played the Punisher in 2004.
Whoa.
Lots of comic book stuff.
Whew. All right. Yeah. I mean, I knew a lot of them were, but...
Yeah, that was a mouthful.
Basically everybody but Kieran Kulkin and Knives Chow played...
Right. Brie Larson wanted to... This is random movie trivia from here on out, then I'm done. Brie Larson wanted to be in the film because she was a huge Edgar Wright fan. She hadn't read any of the Scott Pilgrim books, but saw a drawing of Envy Adams. Larson decided to watch the Adult Video Awards to get inspiration. Most of the female stars were shown acting...
That's why I watch them.
Most of the female stars were shown acting very vain, so Larson based her voice and body language on the models. Yeah, that trivia is for you, my friend.
Yeah, that's why I watch those awards.
This was interesting. During the writing of Hot Fuzz, Edgar Wright thought of casting Michael Cera as the titular character after watching Arrested Development.
Really?
Yep.
I mean, he does run funny.
Really funny.
I think it's a totally different movie.
I think so, too. And you can't have Nick Frost.
Yeah, you'd have had to recast, Jonah Hill or something.
Just for that chemistry. Because Simon Pegg and Nick Frost have that chemistry for that movie. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to see that version of Hot Fuzz.
I wouldn't be mad.
The 4 cast members that made up the band Sex Bomb Bomb spent several weeks learning how to play together as a band. I mentioned this when Mitchell was here.
Right.
That Michael Cera had to dumb down his bass playing in order not to outshine his bandmates. When Scott opens the door to receive his package, Michael Cera actually did throw the package over his shoulder into the bin after 33 takes. After so much CGI, Edgar Wright wanted this to be legit.
It took 33 tries for that?
Yep.
Remove the trash can where it's easier then, or something.
33 tries. Mary Elizabeth Winstead memorized all the kinds of tea that her character rambles. Crew members kept offering for her to just read it from a piece of paper, but she insisted on learning it all.
Good for her.
Nice. The original concept for Scott Pilgrim is based around 2 premises. First, the idea was, what if, after a life of playing fighting games, someone confronted you and you actually had the ability to fight like a Street Fighter character? And the second concept came about when Brian Lee O'Malley was dating his future wife, Hope Larson, when he learned that she had dated three different guys named Matthew O'Malley. Or three different guys named Matthew. O'Malley came up with the idea of a League of Matthews. This idea developed into a League of Evil Exes. Matthew Patel is the only evil ex to keep the name Matthew.
I could see that. Honestly, at what point do you stop dating Matthews?
Right.
But I guess if you marry a guy whose last name's O'Malley, you're probably dating a lot of Matthews.
Yeah.
Did I just do an Irish racism?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Originally, the film only had a title card at the beginning. It was Quentin Tarantino who suggested to Edgar Wright late in the stage of post-production that there should be a pre-title credit sequence. Otherwise, the remaining ensemble of characters yet to be introduced would have been introduced in a much more rapid succession. The audience might have been overwhelmed with the introduction of characters and plot. With a pre-title sequence, the audience is given a chance to relax and have a firmer grasp on the beginning of the film. Wright considered this and agreed, liking the idea that the first scene should now be a prologue.
Tarantino does it again.
Yep. Michael Cera admitted that whilst filming in the record store, he ended up buying a lot of albums. During the editing process, Edgar Wright showed filmmakers Quentin Tarantino, Jason Reitman, and Kevin Smith a rough cut of the film, to which they responded positively.
That's like your dinner table trio.
I know, isn't it? Ellen Wong made 2 homemade Sex Bomb t-shirts for her character to wear. The one selected by Edgar Wright appears in the movie, the other on DVD extras. Metric recorded 2 versions of their song Black Sheep. One had the vocals of lead singer Emily Rains, which was included in the official soundtrack. Hold on, back up to the last bit of trivia. That's the best thing about DVDs and Blu-rays, was the special features, deleted scenes, and outtakes. And all streaming services need to get on the same fucking page and add that shit to their titles.
Yeah, at least have like a little button where you can watch it afterwards.
Yep. They need it. The other version featured Brie Larson's vocals, which became a fan favorite and was used in both the film and in promotional music videos. However, the latter version was nowhere officially available. Due to its popularity, the version containing Larson's vocals was later included in the 10th anniversary edition of the film soundtrack, which was released in June 2021. That version became such a hit, it brought Larson back to the Billboard charts for the first time since 2005.
Was Brie Larson a pop star?
I guess so. In the scenes of Lee's place, Wallace and Kim Pine can be seen drinking Molson Canadian beer.
All righty.
Alrighty.
You a Molson's or a Labatt guy?
Labatt.
You French fuck?
The body count, 46. 47 if you count the time Scott got killed before he was resurrected.
Yeah, he kills a lot of henchmen and...
Yep. Every time Aubrey Plaza curses, the sound effect used to censor her profanity is the sound that 90s modems used when reconnecting to the internet.
Oh, I know it well.
At least 2 cast members have played non-vampire characters in vampire movies. Anna Kendrick played Jessica Stanley in the Twilight series, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead played Mary Todd in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which will be featured on this pod. It is streaming, and it's fucking incredible.
One of my favorite lines to use is, other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
Have you seen that movie?
No.
Okay. It's incredible. I can't wait.
I'm sure it is.
I can't wait to watch it with you. Matthew Patel is the only evil ex that Scott defeats single-handedly. Lucas Lee obliterates himself in an accident. The vegan police help to defeat Todd. Ramona helps to defeat Roxy. Steven Silva and Kim help to defeat the twins. And Knives and Ramona help to defeat Gideon.
All right.
Throughout the film, when Scott faces an evil ex, a number corresponding to them appears. Evil X 1 chevron on his left shoulder. Evil X 2, the 2 on the trailer and the 2 on the car. A small tattoo on his neck.
Got my own brand, bro.
His belt has 2 X's. Evil X 3 on his shirt. There's a 3 on his shirt, 3 on the posters on the wall, and also 3 on the trash cans in the alley. Evil
3
X
strikes to lose his vegan power.
Yep. Evil X 4, number 4 on the nightclub door. Evil X 5 and 6, the amp systems go up to 11. 5 plus 6.
Awesome nod to the cat. The amp's going up to 11.
Yeah. Evil X7, when Scott goes to see Gideon, he mentions it's level 7. When Gideon makes his sword appear, all of the stats read times 7. He also makes a reference to the gummy swallows being his digestive tract for 7 years. And the final score where Scott beats Gideon is 7 trillion. Gideon's initials is GGG, with G being the 7th letter in the alphabet. And Scott himself is seen wearing and drinking 0 a number of times.
Whoo!
Yeah,
Numerology.
Numerology, baby. Each time Ramona's hair and clothes change color, so does Scott's color scheme. When he first meets her at Julie's party, her hair is pink and her shirt is pink with blue accent. He's standing next to her wearing a pink t-shirt beneath a blue outer shirt. The night she shows up at the apartment with blue hair and blue shirt under her coat, shortly after they go to meet Wallace at Lucas Lee's shoot, Scott is standing next to her again wearing a blue inner jacket, and later when they are walking down the street together with coffee, her outer coat is blue and so is his. Then when she's taken by Gideon and her hair and shirt are green, when Scott suits up to rescue her, he's wearing a green shirt with green and white with wristbands.
Symbolism.
Boom. The version of the song Ramona at the end of the movie is played in the style of David Bowie's song Space Oddity, as it uses a mellotron, acoustic guitar, and the continued countdown mimics the space rocket countdown from Bowie's song.
More music nerd talk.
Yep. During the battle between Scott and Lucas Lee, a New York City backdrop is ripped open to reveal the Toronto skyline. This is an allusion to the frequency in which movies are filmed in Toronto while disguised to look like New York or other American cities. The rest of these are for us.
Perfect. No Stephen Stills, Young Neil, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young trivia in here?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and none of it was on IMDb.
Okay, well, the front man is Stephen Stills, who's a American folk rocker, and there was a band, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, and for a time, Neil Young was in it, and later left. Neil Young, Young Neil. I can't believe something like that wasn't in there, or maybe people already knew. I don't know.
I gotcha. When Ramona asks Scott how old Knives is, the roulette wheel in his mind has the following choices. She's nobody. She's 40. Idiot. No speak English. When's dinner? Tell Pac-Man story. No, no, you are. Pass out. It was nothing. Who, her? And I gotta pee. And he ends up saying, I gotta pee on her.
Yes.
This is something you do a lot.
Pee on people?
No. Mix up what you're trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
You do that a lot. You think two different things and you come up with don't be Christmas nasty.
That's right. I have two things that I'm going to say and they just merge. And it becomes don't be Christmas nasty.
And for Michael, Sarah, and Scott Pilgrim, it becomes I gotta pee on her. In Ramona's apartment, there was a poster for the movie Fargo. It is visible behind her when she first offers Scott tea. Mary Elizabeth Winstead would later appear in the 3rd season of Fargo, the TV series based on the movie. One of your favorite Coen Brothers films.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the show yet.
Me neither.
I don't know why.
But it's got Billy Bob Thornton, which I'm surprised you haven't seen it because of how much Rania loves Billy Bob Thornton.
So weird.
Scott's bass guitar is a Rickenbacker 4003 in the movie and a Rickenbacker 4001 C64 in the comic series. The only Edgar Wright movie rated PG-13 in the U.S., and the film is an international co-production of Japan, Canada, and the United Kingdom, and the United States.
Okay,
So,
all right.
Lots.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Baby.
That's my trivia. That's how I feel after all that. That was so much.
You ready to move on to our impersonation segment?
I fucking guess so.
George Michael Bluth.
What about him?
We're going to do your best Michael Cera impersonation.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So I'm going to go back to something that I used to do when I waited tables. I would get really bored and do impersonations of different people waiting tables. Never done this one before. But here's George Michael Bluth waiting tables. Hey, guys, welcome in. There's the menu. Just, if you want something, great. If not, that's fine too. I guess the ribeyes pretty good. And if you don't mind leaving a big tip at the end, because I'm trying to take my cousin out for a date, and I'm trying to fuck my cousin. Let me know if you guys need anything. I'm George Michael.
That was pretty good. All right, George Michael. I didn't really know what to get anybody for Christmas, so I kind of didn't get anybody anything because everyone's so hard to buy gifts for. But I did get something for Maybe because here's your gift, Maybe. I'm gonna go upstairs.
I was worried about that one because I didn't know how good either of like Sarah impersonations were gonna be, but
they ended up being pretty good.
All right, I'll take them. We've done worse, that's for sure.
We've done a lot
We've done
worse.
way worse.
Me trying to do Daniel Craig's American accent was bad. Final thoughts on the movie. What's your rating?
I think this movie's really fun. I think it's really creative. I think it's unique. I think it does something that most movies don't. But, the last 20 minutes really didn't do it for me. If it ends at the lesbian orgasm death, it's much higher. But I think it is an 8.5.
So you'd round up to a 9 if asked.
8.4.
Okay.
I can't make this movie a 9, but an 8 for sure.
Okay. Mine's a 6.4.
You didn't like it near as much as I did.
No, I did
Again,
not.
one of those vibe type movies that I tend to like a lot
really
more than
like,
you.
yeah. And for some reason I'm not into vibe movies. And I had never noticed that until we started doing this pod. But yeah, I mean it was enjoyable.
To me, it's kind of a lesser version of Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Honestly, the only reason it's as high as 6.4 is because of Macaulay Culkin and Aubrey Plaza.
Kieran Kulkin.
Yeah, Kieran Culkin. Whatever. Not whatever. He's incredible. Kieran Culkin. It's Kieran Culkin and Aubrey Plaza. Otherwise, this probably would get a 5.4.
Okay.
They give it a whole point.
Yeah, I just think it's fun. I'll definitely watch it again.
Yeah, and I like 5.4 movies. I watched them multiple times. Speaking of which, how many more times are you going to watch this movie?
Ooh, I think this is my third time to watch it. I'll probably watch it 3 more times. I don't know when. I don't know where. I don't know how. But I like it enough to roll through it when I have nothing better to do and just kind of want to feel good.
My girlfriend fell asleep with an hour left in this movie, so that'll probably be the last time I watch it. I might watch it one more time, but I doubt it. I've already seen it twice now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll watch a highlight reel of Kieran Culkin.
Couple of the fight scenes.
Yeah. All right, good and bad reviews from IMDb. You would have thought a movie like this would have been really easy to find them. It was not.
Interesting.
I always find that interesting whenever we watch a movie that you would think be really easy to find good and bad ones.
Yeah, especially a movie like this that there's kind of 2 ends of the spectrum. The movie's made for you.
Yep.
Or the movie's absolutely not made for you. So you get wildly different opinions.
Yeah. And you're going to get those opinions from people that this was made for that hated it or loved it. Like, it should have been easy. But it should have been easy. My first one, by the Muskrat 28, gave it a 9 out of 10. 2010 continues to impress me. Though I could probably rave for hours tonight, I'll keep this short. After Kick-Ass and Inception, I thought that for sure 2010 would be a plump out of good movies. But oh boy.
So he thinks every year only has 2 good movies?
No, I think just after those 2.
Oh, nothing was really good because it was Eat, Pray, Love, and...
Or just like those 2 movies were so good for him that surely nothing else can top it.
Gotcha.
But oh boy, like the other reviewer said, as a Universal logo appeared in like an 8050 resolution accompanied by a MIDI track, I knew this was going to be good. I somehow managed to make it through the seizure-inducing beginning credits, Then the movie took off. It was maybe a little slow for a few minutes, but now I realize it was only preparing me for the awesomeness to follow. Anyways, the acting was superb, and I completely have a new love crush on Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She could not have been hotter. In fact, the whole movie is overrun with a cast that would steal the show in any normal movie, but here it's just a big collection of great young actors, which we rarely get to see. I think inevitably and very unfortunately, this will be compared to Kick-Ass, and that almost makes me sad, but also makes me happy that I'm getting to see both in the same year. So basically, if you've ever been into random games such as Zelda, Final Fantasy, well, you really need to not want to miss on this one. It's not the perfect movie, but I think the director would shoot himself if it was. It's an entertaining movie, and while on one hand, the nerdier you are, the more you'll get it, I think it's a lot to laugh at here for everyone. It gets my utmost endorsement.
Yeah, it's kind of a subdued Kick-Ass.
Yeah. I think this guy sounds like you without the nerdy aspect.
A little bit. And the like, I don't know how you talk about how you love this movie without loving the music. Because it's musical-ish.
Yeah. My bad review does not age well for 2023.
Excellent.
Yeah. By Fiona Green 18, 1 out of 10, Scott Pilgrim versus my attention span.
Scott Pilgrim won.
Let's cut to the chase. This movie is woefully bad in almost every single aspect. The characters are vague, irritating, two-dimensional non-entities, and as such, I found it impossible to relate to any of them.
So you went into this movie, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, shot like a video game from a comic book, and you were like, I really want character development in here.
Or to relate to them. Like, come on. Anyways, in particular, Scott Pilgrim is a dull, whiny brat with no personality whatsoever. The rest of the ensemble are cardboard cutouts aimed at an audience that must surely prize preteen rambling over actual conversation, and you'll be hard-pushed to remember anything interesting that any one of them said after the movie. Not true.
Not at all. Actually, that's hilarious. Is literally still a TikTok trend.
Yep. The plot is insulting. Boy must beat girl's evil exes to win her. That's it. Wow. The battle scenes are ridiculous, with enemies reduced to coins after being defeated. One of many, many repetitive nods to the direction of outdated games consoles such as Nintendo's.
Did you think this movie was going to be the Shawshank Redemption?
This lady sounds pretentious as all shit.
Because you didn't really like this movie, and I think you would agree. There's nothing terrible about this movie.
Absolutely not.
You were just kind of bored.
Yep. Seriously, this has all been done before and with more style. I cannot believe this pile of inquin manure is the product of the same man that wrote Hot Fuzz. I'll make it plain for you. Do you have ADHD? Are you impressed by flashing lights? Do you want dumb American teens mumbling incoherent nonsense as main characters? If the answers to any of those questions is yes, I give you Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
The answer to all of those questions are yes.
The answer is you're a dick.
Also, what did she say? Films like this had been done before?
Yeah.
No. No.
Nope. But yeah, that's what I got. That's my IMDb trivia. Should people watch this movie? The answer is, even for a 6.4, yes.
If you are between the ages of 28 and 40, you have to watch this. My dad would hate this movie.
Yeah.
And I know that, and I would not recommend it to him.
Of course.
And he's a guy who loves fun movies, too.
Yeah.
But this is not his cup of tea.
Yeah, your dad's older than 40.
The only thing he would find funny was the Steven Seals young Neil part.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know how 25 and under would feel about this movie. I haven't had this conversation with any of them.
They might like it just because of what Nintendo's doing now, re-releasing classic games with more stuff to do on them.
They may hate the Scott Pilgrim email stuff.
Yeah.
They might not be able to relate with the technology, and I don't know if Battle of the Bands culture is still around, but I know it was huge when I was in high school.
Yeah. Well, that's it. IRMFT, Scott Pilgrim versus the world.
We did it.
We did.
Scott Pilgrim won.
He did. Is next week my birthday episode?
Next week is your birthday episode. So you are going to make me watch a movie that you basically could not convince me to watch, but it's your birthday, so I have to.
Yep.
Not necessarily a movie I'll hate.
No. Like me with Bull Durham. I love that movie.
I knew you'd like it.
But there's no way I was going to watch it.
None.
It's a love triangle about minor league baseball characters. Not watching it. Don't want to. Oh, speaking of which, before we get off this pod, I work at the airport, so I see a ton of people. I saw a guy wearing a Savannah Banana shirt. I walked up to him, talked to him, and now I want a shirt or a hat because that shirt was incredible.
Okay.
I had never looked it up since we talked about it. Wow.
Yeah.
Savannah Bananas are cool.
They love bits.
Love it. But my birthday movie is a movie called Troll Hunter.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you anyways, it's a Norwegian movie, so subtitled. And this guy is a troll hunter for the Norwegian government because trolls are real and he has to keep them out of the public sight. It's incredible.
Let's do it. That's us. Follow us on social media at IRMFT Pod. See you next week for Troll Hunter. Bye.